half-breed double agents who charge you $1,000 to get you over the border, and being eminently fair, charge the enemy an equal amount to lead them to you. If you're worried about doubling back on yourself, use your ingenuity in fashioning an impromptu chart of your course, camouflaged as harmless doodling. After you've crossed the frontier, don't get overconfident about those border controls. You're in a 24-hour-a-day battle of wits, and the enemy has secret weapons of his own. Keep moving across country by a circuitous route. For the border isn't a black thread across the map. It's a strip at least 15 miles wide, infested with collaborationists, counter-espionage agents, and special police. Human landmines hidden among the native population to blast your cover. And finally, when you reach a town far enough inland, don't enter it from the border side. Circle around it and enter it from the other side, as if you were coming from the interior.
But as I understood it, I was going in by plane.
Yes. In your case, it will be safer and faster to drop you by parachute. But we like our men to have a good working knowledge of other methods of penetration.
How about these plane landings I've heard of?
Naturally, when we have a field that we can land on safely without being discovered, it's more efficient. We can pick up an outgoing agent at the same time, for instance. But the only place we can land on safely now is guerrilla territory.
How low is this plane going to be when I jump?
Maybe it would be a good idea for you to sit down with a pilot who's going to fly you in. He'll give you the dope on just how it's going to be.
And another thing, we never set a date until we're damn sure we found the right dropping point. Like this one we picked out for you, for instance. It's just about perfect. It's a level grassy space large enough to allow for adverse wind conditions. And it's far enough removed from trees and telegraph wires so that daylight won't find you hanging out there like an ornament on a Christmas tree. It's 15 miles to the nearest anti-aircraft setup, and my buddies will create a little diversion over there to keep their minds off us until we've set you down. There's a river running closely that I can follow practically all the way in, and a couple of little lakes on the other side that make pretty good landmarks to help me spot the place in the moonlight. About a mile away from the dropping point, there's a safe house, owned by a peasant working with us. The liaison chief will be there waiting for you.
Everything's on schedule.
How soon will they be here?
33 minutes.
Take the radio out and bury it, Mary.
The container being dropped with Al is bulky evidence of Al's arrival, unless it can be buried deep enough and fast enough. For empty containers, buried instantly, tell no tales.
We're on time. Let's go.
Any broken bones?
No, I think I made it all in one piece. Our friend's farm is up the hill there, just about a mile.
I'll show you the way.
What about my gear?
Don't worry, the boys will take care of it.
Fine, let's go.
While Al enjoys a much-needed rest, Charles employs another method of infiltration in reaching enemy area coast. A neutral fishing schooner and itinerant fisherman, both familiar sights to this waterfront town, provide the most natural sort of cover for Charles' arrival. Can you pick him out? No? I'm afraid the enemy area shore patrol could. What's that stroke of yours, Charles? Look around at the other. Short, jerky strokes. Not the most graceful in the world, but better adapted to choppy surfs and heavy boats. Now look at yours. Long, sweeping strokes. Where do you think you are, Charlie? Back in the dear old Harvard shell? Yes, just a detail. But the kind of detail the enemy shore patrol is watching for. Wait a minute there, Charles. How about that knot? Don't tell me you've forgotten the fishermen here have their own particular method of tying up a boat. Keep your eyes open and your mind open, Charles. Otherwise, you're liable to tie that knot around your own neck. As soon as curfew is lifted, Al hits the road to the nearest railway terminal. Ask him where he is coming from, and he'd say,
From the farm where I was convalescing after I was evacuated from the bombed city of Coburg.
And where was he going?
To enemy town to visit my fiancée and try to get a part-time job until I'm strong enough to get into a war plant.
Oh, boy. Maybe I can get a hitch to the station.
Wait a minute, Al. What did they tell you about cars in enemy area? 9 out of 10, they're state officials. Just the boys who might ask embarrassing questions. Better hoof it, brother. It's better to find a hole in your shoe than a hole in your cover. That's right, whistle. Be as natural as you can. But just a second. What's that you're whistling? Wait till the sun shines, Nellie? That's better. A Viennese waltz. They weren't kidding when they told you at the schools that this was a 24-hour-a-day job. Even what you whistle has to conform to cover. So far, so good, Al. You're not taking the bus because the police are watching the buses pretty carefully these days. Instead, as soon as enemy area restrictions allow daylight travel, you've located the first rural station in the opposite direction from the dropping point.
Travel permits. Let's see your travel permits.
That's it, Al. Sit back and take this snap control in stride. You've left all compromising material behind to be sent to you later at a previously arranged address. And you know your temporary cover story for this trip holds water, because you tested it for leaks at the farmhouse last night.
What's your name? Albert Horn.
Where are you coming from?
The farm near Coburg.
A farm, huh? You don't look like a farmer.
I'm not. I was evacuated after being bombed out of a hospital in Coburg. Oh.
Where are you headed?
Enemy town?
Sorry to ask you so many questions, but an unidentified plane flew over the neighborhood last night and we can't take any chances. Why are you going to enemy town?
I can show you.
Not bad.
My fiancée.
I wouldn't mind going to enemy town for that myself.
Oh, it's my patriotic duty.
Patriotic duty, huh? I wish all our patriotic duties could be so pleasant.
In enemy town, halfway between the dropping point and the capital, Al heads for the address he was given by the liaison chief.
Mr. Durant,
Yes?
someone told me you were looking for an assistant.
An assistant? I could use an assistant. How much experience have you had?
I was a mechanic in the Army, 2 years in the tank corps.
Good. I've been looking for a man with your kind of training.
Then I'm your man.
Got your work clothes with you?
Right here in my bag.
Good. Come on inside and I'll start you right to work.
Thank you, sir.
Over the noise of the machines, Durand gives Al the necessary instructions for the last leg of his journey to the capital.
No, not like that. You're throwing away too much. Nowadays, they take 4/5 of our catch. So we use this for chowder. The foreman sees you throwing this away, and they wonder where you were when he warned you about it 4 weeks ago.
Oh, I'll just tell him I was out of town that day for my old lady's funeral.
I can see you're a very brave man. If you don't mind my saying so, you're too spirited. Look at these fellas around you. They are half dead with hunger and sadness. You must work twice as hard for half as much. Their sons are taken away from them, and their children die. Their will to live is very weak. Only men like us are not broken yet, but we must appear beaten too, so as not to stand out from the others.
Remember the agent's first commandment, Charles. Don't be conspicuous. Good cover doesn't come automatically with the right clothes. You must put on a new attitude, a new disposition, to fit those foul-smelling baggy pants and the old boots. The best cover story in the world won't protect you if you cannot live that cover.